My boyfriend woke me up at 3 a.m. yelling about car insurance. This is going to be a long one, so hang tight. Quick recap. At 3 a.m. on Friday morning, my boyfriend of 1.5 years woke me up by yelling, then hit the bed. I found out his car insurance payments had been pushed back 2 months, and they had just sent an email stating the insurance was going to be cancelled on the 1st of December. I went downstairs to sleep on the couch and get away from him because I was furious. I researched solutions and quickly went back up to discuss them, to which he told me he was going back to bed and didn't want to talk about it. Note, this explosive behavior towards me is extremely out of character, but towards his mother, mentioned later, not so much. Now, Friday morning around 8 when he woke up, never mind that I didn't sleep at all and was awake since, he tried talking to me. I completely shut it down and wouldn't even look at him, and when he asked if I wanted to be left alone, I quickly said yup. He then called the insurance and made an arrangement with them to pay back without having the plan cancelled. Then around 10, he came back and apologized for being a D, to which I replied, yeah, you were a D. I explained to him how unfair and childish it was that he brought up this problem at an extremely unreasonable hour, and was taking it out on me. I told him how unfair it was for him to not only bring it up but pick a fight with me when I wasn't even awake to be a part of a real conversation, and how unacceptable it was that he was yelling and hitting furniture. He told me he was mad at me but didn't want to get into it. I told him, nope, you don't get to say that. We're gonna talk about it like adults. He then explained that he has been mad that we rushed into moving out of my parents' house. He moved in with me there back in March, and we moved out into our shared apartment. This was asked a lot. Yes, we are both on the lease in August. He blames me because I didn't take him seriously enough about his concerns with moving out and pushed him to do something he wasn't ready for. I then heavily reminded him of how I was just looking at apartments and that we found the one we are currently in, and he fell in love with it and had to have it now. He didn't want to lose the apartment, it was such a good deal, and blah, blah, blah. No matter how much I said, are you sure you don't want to wait until next month? I always got, let's do it now. With this economy, we aren't going to get a better deal for the area. So no, I didn't pressure him, and we constantly talked about concerns with moving out. But we always made a plan. But clearly, some sort of resentment has been building with this because this is not the first time I've heard this. This is not the first time I've been guilted for our current living and financial situation. I told him I was sick of it. I was sick of feeling guilty for a home I've single-handedly kept afloat. I was no longer going to feel guilty, and it simply wasn't fair of him after everything I've done for him, and that he is a grown-ass adult who chose to make this home a reality. He signed the lease himself. He could have said no at any time but didn't. He then apologized for guilting me and acknowledged he needed to take responsibility, and then made a comment about how he should have put his foot down, which made me feel a type of way. As we're talking, his mother calls and he answers, screams at her to quit calling, and then hangs up. I tell him he needs to apologize because it isn't her fault we're fighting. Turns out she just wanted to tell him about ornaments she found for us since we can't afford decorations. Our conversation was then interrupted because his mother found out about the insurance. Either she got an email about it or he told her when he apologized for yelling. The car is in her name and he pays her for it every month. She called and yelled, then they started discussing her helping cover it until he can pay her back. This whole time I'm sitting next to him, so I end up clearly hearing them both. She starts questioning where his money is going, but quickly does a 180 and asks what I'm doing. Am I working? Where's my money going? What am I doing? Why did I allow that? Which this has been a running theme with her. I'm paying rent, I'm buying groceries, I'm paying off my car and whatever else pops up. I'm doing my part. It makes me furious she's under the impression I do nothing or not enough. Around this time I recognize not only do we need to address all this shit that happened at 3 a.m., but we have to address his relationship with his mother because it's impacting me too. At times she calls at 5 or 6 in the morning to call and yell at him, which always wakes me up. For the longest time he would ignore my requests to have him turn off his phone at night so we can sleep, so I'd be up so early every morning because of them yelling. What's with both of them being against my sleep? They're always fighting. Always. No matter what it's about, the time of day, who he is standing around. He will yell at her on the phone and she is screaming right back. It's extremely stressful for me and spikes my anxiety. I've mentioned this many times but he won't control his tone. Once he finished on the phone I straight up asked him if this was what he wanted. Is this the life he wants to live? Because if he truly didn't want this, I was ready to pay the fee to get out of the lease and walk away because his actions wouldn't be tolerated. He told me of course he wants me. He wants us. And it kinda ended there for the moment because I went out with my brother for Black Friday because I promised to drive him to some stores. On the drive home, I called some friends for advice and support. When I came home, I told him I wanted to talk more on set because I was emotionally and physically exhausted from the day. I specified wanting to discuss finances as well as his temper and his relationship with his mom. I told him again that he needs to control himself and not act like a child, and that this needed to be a wake-up call. Now, I'm not going to lie, I fully intended to talk, but I was so exhausted I couldn't bring myself to do it, and he didn't bother mentioning anything either. So tomorrow, I must do this before it falls to the back burner and things never change or escalate. I'm looking for advice to continue this conversation in a constructive way. We had such a strong relationship built on love, trust, kindness, and respect before this, and I'm not going to let this be the end. I see some major counseling in our future. From the comments, OP, I'll be honest, I already have sleeping problems because of my neurodiversity, so if my limited sleep time was disrupted by this insane yelling relationship he has with his mom, I'd have to be gone. Also, I'm not comfortable with the access she seems to have in my life, and her asking about my finances is a no-go for me. I would really have to have a long hard think about this relationship because I can't spend the rest of my life hearing them yell each other, then them yelling at me and my children. It just seems like a lot. OP, I'm so sick of hearing them scream, especially about me. Major changes need to be made in order for us to move forward together. Story 2, I don't like celebrating my birthday, but I still think my partner should not have done what he did yesterday. Long story short, I'm a Thanksgiving baby raised in a family where narcissistic personality disorder runs rampant. My birthday was always on Thanksgiving to avoid inconveniencing anyone and just combined into the family gathering every year without fail. I didn't know my birthday's actual date until 7th grade when a school counselor asked, and I became angry and concerned that I said it's always on Thanksgiving. No matter how much they responded, it wasn't possible. There were a few years when presents were forgotten. In those years, my birthday was on Black Friday, and 8-year-old me was dragged out to the Jersey City outlet mall to get my own gifts that had never been wrapped. In 2014, when my extended family cut off my immediate family because my mom attempted to break the cycle, I never heard from them again. I began having my birthday on the actual day, but there were still instances of ice cream cake forgotten in the garage to melt and parties where I was told I was making the whole thing about me. It left a taste in my mouth of having a birthday in the sense of recognizing and celebrating it not being worth it. In 2017, I met my partner right before going to college, and I decided I would no longer have a birthday. I tell people who need to know, and everyone else I just say, oh, I don't celebrate or share, and most people move on. I have been with my partner since then, and they always get me gifts and cards but never have done anything, which is fine and just how I like it. But this year was different, and I want to know if I'm in the wrong. I am currently recovering with an unruptured brain aneurysm, essentially swollen blood vessels in my brain impacting my vagus nerve, which has made me incredibly sick since mid-September. Also, in this time, my workload has increased tenfold, with some large-name clients running their ads across the US on a national TV network. They have zero sense of urgency or organization, leading to at least 10 hours of overtime every week, but closer to 50 in the last 4 weeks, handling the start of a new financial year. I moved into a building where my neighbors frequently smoke substances that trigger my allergies, and I've been to the hospital twice for reactions since moving in. On top of that, my mother got terrible news about some undetected spine damage. She needs surgery in the next week. It's been the most trying few months of my life, and my 25th birthday was just this looming weight I was dreading. I say to my partner, hey, my birthday is on a Saturday. I'm definitely not working overtime. I just want a clean apartment to be in, wear comfy PJs, put the futon in bed mode, take a really good shower, and then have the option to nap or lounge anywhere I can whenever I can. With the aneurysm and work, I feel like I'm showering every 3 days and only averaging 3 hours of sleep a night while getting sick. Having a day to recover was all I wanted. We did the holidays separately with our families, and on Friday, my partner texts me, hey, since my mother and stepdad are up from Florida, they want to come see the new apartment, and the only day they can come is Saturday, but it will be a short visit. Okay, yeah, sure, I love my in-laws. I understand it's a short, last-minute visit. They came for 20 minutes. I say, since my mom's surgery is coming up, I will have to wear a mask the whole time, but it's fine. After I approve, I get the text, great. Also, we blew a tire, so we can't go home now till tomorrow rather than tonight. Okay, again, not super controllable, but we didn't blow a tire, he did. But it's fine. I'll get home, have the visit, get to my plans. He sleeps in Saturday at his father's while I wait alone at my parents' house for him, unable to reach anyone until 1 p.m. Then we finally get on the road to our apartment at 3 p.m. I say, is the visit cancelled? You know my plans are for today, and why I wanted today. He apologized and said the visit's still happening, it will be super quick. We get home at 4 p.m., and he says they were right behind us. I stay unshowered, straightening up the apartment that I cleaned for my relaxing day, but to my standards, not to having guest standards. They don't arrive until 6 p.m. I put on my mask to be around them, and they laugh about it several times. They show up with food and pies, none of which I can eat or even like when I would be able to eat them, and proceed to stay until 10 p.m. Every time I use the bathroom in my apartment because I'm sick, my partner's stepfather made comments about not being polite around guests. It's a 740 square foot apartment. They sat at the kitchen bar, which, while there's a door and a wall, is 7 feet away from the toilet. They finally go to leave, and I tell my partner while he walks them down I'm going to straighten up and get in the shower. He tells me it's rude not to walk them down after I have already not eaten what they brought and gotten sick around them all night, no matter how valid my reason is. So I walk them down, and in the process, step and drag the ankle of my jeans and dog pee on my building lobby's floor. Several jokes about my pee pants ensue before they leave. My partner says he wants to check the mail, so I leave to head up to the apartment. I straighten up, and as he gets back, I'm about ready to get into the shower where he starts to ask me what's up with me and my attitude. I explained how my day of rest was completely stolen from me, and that I'm exhausted and just really need to take off my dog pee jeans and shower. He says, I thought you didn't care about your birthday, and I don't understand, etc. I continue trying to explain that I don't want to celebrate my birthday, but if this is the one day a year in my life I'm supposed to have care, concern, attention, and do what I want, I still need that one day, especially with everything going on. That's when he says, I was going to put this effort in and decorate and get balloons and try to make you feel special, but I was scared of you, so I didn't. This made me just break down. I told him, you realize how trashy it is to tell me that you didn't think I cared about my birthday, so it should be fine. It was about pleasing everyone but me. But then you also follow it up with, I was going to make you feel special, but I didn't because you're scary. It's just not fair, and it's made me feel worse when I already thought I was at my lowest. I cried a lot in the shower while he tried to console me and apologize, but it didn't make it feel better. When I got out, I became wired, so I sat on my couch just looking at everything decorated for the holidays to do around the apartment, and felt like I was drowning. He then tried to surprise me with my favorite pizza, which is big, as he's a vegan, and ordered me solely non-vegan options that I could eat and have all to myself. Still, I am only allowed so much sodium every day, so a quarter of a slice and I was done, unable to touch the sides or anything else, and I ended up getting sick 10 minutes later, so I didn't even really get to keep it in. I'm just really stressed out and upset. Edit to add, part of my symptoms and side effects of my condition is that I'm just exhausted easily, sick all the time, not getting my usual sleep, normal tasks are 5x harder, and in the apartment, we have gone from a 50-50 split on all chores to my partner doing pretty much everything. Physically folding laundry is one of the hardest things for me right now, and showering is just something I can't do alone now, and I hate asking for the help I need. I figured if it was the one thing I was doing that day, I would be able to do it alone, which is a big piece of why I'm so upset. I am also the main driver in the relationship. It's my car. He doesn't even own one and is only on my insurance because if we ever move out of the city, it would be an awful rate to have him rejoin. And so now, with my condition, I can't drive at all, and the last month has felt like taking a taxi every time I get in my own car. I'm realizing now that maybe I'm a little compulsive and I have habits I hate letting go, but how was I supposed to know my in-laws would be the complete opposite of who they normally are, and my partner would, for the first time ever, be just ignorant? I have great relationships with all involved and plan on having the hard conversations about why anything that happened. However, I have so little time, and I'm so tired that I don't know when that will be. What I do know is, in the meantime, I'm going to focus on communicating with my partner. I'll see what went wrong and avoid relying on his mom the way I normally do because clearly something is up, and that doesn't mean I deserve what happened. I've also begun talking to my partner, and as much as he apologizes and has worked to reclean the apartment, I explained that I lost my one day off, and then being called scary on top of it just really got to me because I'm in such a bad place. He did clarify that it's referencing 2017 when he tried to make a big deal out of my birthday, and that's the one time we have ever taken a break or had a big fight. I didn't talk to him for 2 weeks, and he thought it was over. He is always very jumpy and treads lightly around my birthday, to the point where his mother was unaware that it was that date, and my partner knows I want it to be treated like a normal day. Overall, it was poor communication, partly on me due to my tired state, an assumption everyone would be normal, but also on everyone else who continually heard me say all I want is to shower and nap and ignored it because it's out of my character.